Welcome to the relay. We're covering today's top boxing news.
Okay, we'll start with this. What is our last look at this weekend's welterweight contest, welterweight title fight between the champion, Natasha Jonas, and the challenger and former champion, Mikaela Mayer. My thoughts? I think Mikaela wants it more, needs it more than Natasha at this stage in their respective careers. Mikaela's 33, Natasha's 39. Mikaela's got more good years to give to the sport of boxing than I think Natasha does. You're getting farewell vibes and swan song vibes from Natasha. It's a hometown fight. It's a homecoming fight for Natasha. And those homecoming fights, they have a nasty habit of going sideways for the hometown fighter. Natasha's the hometown fighter. Mikaela is the away fighter who has to fight with a sense of urgency, and I think she means to. Mikaela Mayer sports a professional record, 19 wins with 1 loss, no draws, 5 knockouts, having never been knocked out in 20 professional bouts. To Natasha Jonas, who sports a professional record of 14 wins with 2 losses, 1 draw, 9 knockouts, having been knocked out at least once in 17 professional bouts many years ago at the hands of Brazil's own Vivian Albinoff. Now, obviously, she has since rebounded off that loss many years ago. A lot has happened since then, and she's a champion now, a defending champion, defending her IBF welterweight title. Mikaela means to take it from her. How's she gonna do it? Mikaela's an orthodox fighter, whereas Natasha's a southpaw. Mikaela's got speed. I think she's got speed, whereas Natasha has strength. You will notice that Natasha, throughout her career, she's racked up a lot more knockouts than Mikaela has. It's safe to say that Natasha is the more concussive puncher of the two, but the slower, somewhat slower, older fighter. 9 knockouts as opposed to Mikaela's 5. She's coming off a knockout win over Candy Wyatt that was for the vacant IBF title, the one she's defending this weekend, whereas Mikaela Mayer, she hasn't knocked anybody out since 2019. She hasn't racked up a knockout in about 5 years. Thus, I'd wager that Natasha's got strength, whereas Mikaela's got speed, and the fresher set of reflexes of the two. Mikaela's 33, Natasha's 39. Natasha's got strength and Mikaela's got speed. Speed's the ticket. I think this weekend speed is going to be the difference, and straight punches from the outside coming in. I noticed that Mikaela's punches, they're a lot straighter. The shortest distance between 2 points is a straight line. I don't think Mikaela's straight right hand is as powerful or as concussive as Natasha Jonas's straight left hand. I think there's more on Natasha's straight than Mikaela's, but Natasha throws more curved punches and looping shots more often than not. I noticed that Natasha's punches are wider than Mikaela's, and I don't actually think she's as proficient mid-range to inside as Mikaela is. In a phone booth, in a pocket, think about the Maiva Hamadouche fight, and think about the feverish pace they both set for that fight. I don't think Natasha Jonas could handle a pace like that. I remember at 154, before she moved down, opposite the ring Marie-Eve Dicaire. You know what you're thinking? You're thinking to yourself, she fought at a feverish pace with Terry Harper, but the Terry Harper fight was a ways back, whereas the more recent fight she had was the Marie-Eve Dicaire fight. Marie broke character. She decided to get aggressive with Natasha, tried to take it to her, and I noticed that Natasha got tired in that fight. She was getting tired. I've seldom ever seen Mikaela Mayer get tired, and I'd wager that of the two, Mikaela Mayer's got a better engine, better cardio, because she's younger. The younger, fresher fighter of the two with the fresher set of reflexes and the fresher set of legs and the straighter punches. Straight punches down the middle, the straight right hand down the pipe, what is often dubbed the Southpaw Killer. I think she's gonna land it. Mikaela Mayer has always had a decent right hand. Not necessarily the strongest, but it is accurate. It's a punch she regularly lands. It finds a home. And even though she's never faced a southpaw in the pros, in the pro ranks, I think tomorrow her right hand will be present. Her right hand will be effective. I noticed that Natasha Jonas, the smaller, shorter fighter of the two, she's got a wider base. Between that and her aggressive approach in tandem with her looping shots, I think she could get caught in between and knocked off balance. Be at all surprised to see Mikaela Mayer get off to a fast start, because she needs to go for the gusto and maybe score a knockdown en route to a points decision. I don't think she's gonna get Natasha out of there, but I do think she could drop her. Getting off to a fast start because she needs to, getting off to a fast start because she means to. She knows that she's the away fighter. She knows that she's in hostile territory, and she knows she needs to make it decisive. I like Mikaela's corner a bit more than I like Natasha's. Coach Al Mitchell, a very cerebral trainer that knows how to devise a game plan, whereas Tesco Joe, he's good. I think Coach Al is better. At least this weekend he will be. I think between the straight punches from the outside coming in and the hooks mid-range to inside in tandem with her height, her length, her youth, and a little bit more speed than what Tasha's got, I think Mikaela Mayer wins a points decision, outworking Natasha Jonas and landing the cleaner punches. I'm going with Mikaela to become this division's new welterweight champion via the IBF in what promises to be an entertaining fight. In men's heavyweight news, Anthony Joshua sends a clear message to Tyson Fury before facing yet another common opponent between them. They've got a few. Kingpin Johnson, Vladimir Klitschko, Dillian Whyte, Otto Wallin, and now, in the upcoming fight, Francis Ngannou. Based on previous performances, if history is any indicator of things to come, Anthony may end up doing a better job on Francis than Fury did. Joshua will seek to put an end to Ngannou's stint in boxing, and he told Queensbury that he has a point to prove to boxing fans in Great Britain. I am the top heavyweight in the UK, and I am not really too concerned about the world. I am trying to conquer where I live. I just want to conquer here and let everyone know that I am the one who puts boxing on the map. I want to say that even though I view Tyson Fury as the catalyst that puts some of these events in motion through his own victories and his own escapades, UK boxing didn't really explode with his victory over Vladimir Klitschko, mostly because he decided to disappear. He was mentally unfit to fight ahead of what was supposed to be their rematch. So even if he's the catalyst that puts some of these events in motion, he's not the reason UK boxing is where it is today, at least not completely. Anthony's victory over the same Vladimir Klitschko that Tyson Fury fought was more widely publicized and more well received, mostly because Fury's fight with Klitschko was hard to watch, hard to stomach, whereas Anthony Joshua's performance against that same Klitschko was a lot more ambitious and a lot more dramatic. And it ended in a knockout, a dramatic knockout, unlike Fury's victory over Klitschko. Every opponent me and Fury have in common, I've knocked them out. Every opponent. I've never been in competition with him anyway in that sense, but if we are talking facts and stats, everyone we've both fought, I've ended up breaking their face or knocking them out. Which is true, whether you're talking about Kingpin Johnson or Klitschko or Otto Wallin. Otto went the distance with Tyson Fury, sliced up his face, and gave him hell. Whereas he couldn't make it out of the midway point with Anthony Joshua, who's supposed to be mentally weak and overrated. Robotic. These are among the criticisms often levied towards Anthony Joshua, and yet he consistently outperforms Tyson Fury against the same people, against the grocery list of common opponents. And the list goes on. Anthony's fighting Francis, who faced Fury, and Fury's fighting Usyk, who beat AJ. Just call it what it is. They're in competition, and the clear precedent set for Anthony Joshua to fight Francis Ngannou is the stinker that Tyson Fury had with him late last year. If Fury would have did the job on Francis that he was supposed to do, we wouldn't be here now. Need I remind you that the Francis Ngannou people expressed an interest in facing Anthony first, before they shared the ring with Tyson Fury, and at that time, it didn't make sense for Anthony to fight a novice MMA fighter who's never had a pro boxing match before. It didn't make sense then. It didn't make sense until Fury got knocked on his ass and embarrassed himself and embarrassed the sport late last year. Now it makes sense. Now that we know Francis can handle himself in the boxing ring. He gave a good account of himself opposite the ring what's supposed to be the #1 heavyweight in the world, Tyson Fury, whether Fury underestimated him or not. So one person say earlier this week that Anthony Joshua's just going behind Fury, picking up his crumbs. Oh, is that what he's doing? And is that what Francis is now? One of Fury's crumbs? Yet another guy he barely made it past. Like John McDermott all those years ago. In the gift decision, Tyson Fury got over him. Some would say that he got a gift decision over Francis Ngannou, with the difference being that Francis Ngannou is not a boxer, was not a boxer going into that fight. He had no prior pro experience, no fights under the hot lights, and he upstaged Fury in his own sport. Do you think these people would be as understanding of Anthony Joshua if he got sat on his ass by Ngannou? Hell, do you think they would be as forgiving if he would have decided to take Francis up on his offer when he first received it? No. No, they would have criticized him for fighting a novice boxer who's never boxed before, an MMA fighter transitioning into boxing. They would have never let Anthony Joshua get away with what they're letting Tyson Fury get away with.
No.
You know it, and I know it.
The ones all of a sudden poo-pooing over Francis Ngannou as an opponent. He was all right for Fury, and you think Fury's better than AJ, so what's the problem? If he's good enough for the lineal WBC heavyweight champion of the world, why wouldn't he be good enough for Anthony Joshua?
For the guys and gals who want to say that Anthony shouldn't be fighting him, he should be fighting someone else, that there are other people out there.
You could have said the same thing about Fury when he went into the Ngannou fight. You could have said the exact same thing. What, that there were other heavyweights out there? Other real boxers, legitimate boxers out there for him to fight? How is it that there's more responsibility on AJ to keep up a standard, and there's next to none for Fury, who fought Derek Chisora for a third time in a pointless trilogy, then boxed with a guy that never boxed before, got sat on his ass in the process of doing that?
AJ is just cleaning up his mess.
And what was the word around town immediately after Tyson Fury made that mess? Canceling the press conference due to embarrassment. The post-fight press conference. Tyson Fury once again skipping out on his comeuppance and getting them. What was the word? That he would run it back with Francis Ngannou, so he could do a better job. Near as I can tell, what you guys don't like about Joshua versus Ngannou is Joshua might do a better job against Ngannou before Fury gets to redeem himself.
It's okay. It's okay for Fury to fight him once, fight him twice, but if Anthony fights him, you've got a problem. Well, need I remind you, this is what the Saudis want. The Saudis wanted to make Joshua versus Ngannou, and that's why they did it in a jiffy. But that's not all.
It's not the only fight they want. Turki Alalshikh himself said, even if Usyk wins, the people still want to see Tyson Fury versus Anthony Joshua. Quite right. I mean, Fury versus Joshua isn't just about a couple of alphabet titles. It's not just about undisputed. It's about who's the best in Britain. It's about bragging rights. That's a grudge match, and we all know how much the Brits love a grudge match.
They do.
Turki Alalshikh said, we want to see Fury versus Usyk and the result, and the rematch between Fury versus Usyk. And after that, we want to see Tyson Fury against Ngannou, or the people want to see it. And we want to see, if Fury wins, we want to see him against Joshua. If Joshua wins, if Usyk wins, maybe we have a chance to do a third fight. And even if Usyk wins, the people still want to see Tyson Fury against Anthony Joshua. This is what we want to deliver to the market, and we're close to a lot of things about this.
That's a grudge match.
And everybody loves a grudge match, but the Brits especially. Need I remind you, after many, many years of waiting and thinking that the fight was all but dead, after both fighters were over the hill and past it, and perceived as such by the fans, when Brook versus Khan finally got made, the British boxing community showed up to see it, in spite of everything they had said up until that point. They still tuned in and they still showed up. They showed up at the gate and they showed up at the box office, because everybody loves a grudge match. Brits especially. And that's what Anthony Joshua and Tyson Fury is. It's a grudge match. It's about a little bit more than just the alphabet titles, than undisputed. So if Tyson Fury wins or loses against Alexander Usyk, that desire, it's still there, especially if Anthony takes care of business with Francis in all the ways that Tyson Fury didn't. We are coming with a new strategy, Alalshikh said, a new idea and a new vision to do and deliver to the market the best fights with a good price and making the fights that people want to see. We don't want to waste time. Tyson Fury is 35 now, around 35. Joshua is around 33, I think. Usyk is around 36. Wilder, 38, 37. Our tour better be now 39 next week. We are losing time. The people want to see Joshua versus Fury, Fury versus Joshua. Need to see Joshua versus Wilder, and I hope Wilder comes back, you know? And there is a rumor, and you know it, the fight was between Joshua and Wilder for March 8th. But you see the result and the body condition of Wilder now, it would not be reasonable to have done the fight now. We want him to come back. And I see Parker, what he's doing, amazing show. He's one of the best boxers who has come back now this year.
Very clear what their vision is. And it's very clear that whether Tyson Fury wins or loses against Alexander Usyk, the desire to see him fight Anthony Joshua will still be there, the same way the desire to see Brook versus Khan was still there.
That desire isn't going anywhere, especially if Anthony beats Francis and if Fury beats Usyk or if he loses. There's no more promotional politics and sides of the street to hide behind because now both Eddie Hearn and Frank Warren are working together.
Ball will be in Fury's court, win or lose with Usyk, and he won't have his typical shenanigans to hide behind.
Deadlines and time constraints, A-side, B-side politics, sides of the street, promotional politics, network politics, none of that stuff is gonna work because Turkey Alalshikh has cleared the way. He's bankrolling the show, not Frank Warren, not Eddie Hearn.
It's beautiful.
So many who are poo-pooing all over the Francis Ngannou fight in spite of the clear precedence that has already been set by Tyson Fury and his stinker. What they're really afraid of is that Anthony will once again upstage him like he just upstaged him with Otto Wallin.
Might upstage him again with Ngannou. I don't know. The fight hasn't happened yet, but it's very clear that that very idea ruffles some feathers. It bothers some people.
Some Fury fans, a mixture of Fury fans and AJ detractors. AJ detractors like Lennox Lewis, who feels that beating Francis Ngannou is not an adequate segue for Anthony to get the chance to fight for undisputed. He doesn't think beating Francis Ngannou makes him deserving. In a nutshell, he doesn't think that Anthony deserves it. But need I remind you, this is not Anthony and Eddie's rodeo. They're not the ones in charge here. The Saudis are the ones in charge. They're paying for it, and that's what they want. What you think.
You're telling on yourself.
Your cards is showing. Anthony hasn't beaten Francis Ngannou yet. We don't know for sure how that's going to go, just like we don't know the outcome of Fury versus Usyk. But the very idea that Anthony might get the box for undisputed after all, that bothers Lennox.
You're kind of jumping the gun there, aren't you?
We all know that Lennox has had an axe to grind with Anthony Joshua for years. We all know why, because Anthony decided to go into business with Matchroom instead of him coming out of the Olympics, and he's been downplaying Anthony Joshua in different ways, different scenarios for many years now. But in a nutshell, you don't even like the idea that he might make it through this, and he might get the box for undisputed.
Because you're afraid he might do it. You're afraid he might win. You saw how he looked against Otto Wallin.
After years of people saying that he's mentally broken and he's lost his spark, lost his fire, his killer instincts, he's not going in there and finishing guys the same way that he used to. After many years of that, he goes in there with the same Otto Wallin that made Fury look human, and
he beat him easy.
Lennox Lewis is hiding his aversion to Anthony fighting for undisputed behind the guise of being a boxing fan, a boxing purist, when his real issue is he doesn't want Anthony to be the next undisputed champion after the smoke settles with Fury and Usyk.
Calm your tits, Lennox, because if Usyk beats Fury, I don't think we're getting a third Joshua fight after that.
If Usyk beats Fury, Fury might go fight Anthony after that, because that's still a big fight, and Brits do love a good grudge match.